Hello everybody, and welcome to another video. I haven't been posting for a while and I apologize. I've been going through some stuff. I'll leave it at that. And today I want to teach you a very basic way of constructing Islamic patterns. We are back on the Islamic patterns train, so choo-choo, all aboard, and let's get going. Okay, so first off, I'm going to get this rectangular piece of paper. It doesn't matter the size because we're going to cut it and we're going to turn it into a square. It's the first step. Turning your paper into a square. So what we do is we place the short edge onto the long edge of the rectangle. You can see it this way as well. Rectangles come in two forms. Well, no, they come with two set of lines, right? The long and the short. If they were the same, it would be a square. And if they wouldn't be parallel or perpendicular to each other, then it would be a parallelogram. Or it would just be quadrilateral. Or just, I guess, a tetragon, a fourgon, people call it. Tetra is four in ancient Greek, and that is the system which we use to describe our polygons. That's why we say pentagon. We say square because there are some shapes that have conventional names, and I think square is the only one now that I'm thinking about it. Hexagon, hexa is 6, hepta is 7, septa, that could also be a word for 7. Hepta, that's with an H or S. Both are correct. S, hepta. Octa, same thing. So square is the one with conventional names. Now for polyhedra, that is shapes that are solid, which we will not be looking at today, also come in that form. They used the ancient Greek numbers for how many faces they have. Polygons use the letters or the names for how many angles there are. So here we have 4 angles, but this is again a square. If we were to use the ancient Greek, we would call this a tetragon. Tetra is 4. Now before I move on, I can't pause this because I have the OBS on the same settings as streaming, which does not allow me to pause the video. However, I want to place here a little marker on my table because I noticed that I'm getting off frame and I don't like that. So let me just set this up. I should have done this before. But what are you going to do? Okay, so now I have here a little clear reference as to where I can and can't be at. So apologies for this technicalities. How are you, by the way? Are you guys having a good time with your life? How's everything? How's things? Try not to drink too much coffee, yeah? Okay, so here we are. Now just wait a minute. Last one, because then if it's not one way, it's the other, right? There we go. Okay, so let's keep it in frame, guys. All right, cool. Okay, so what we're going to need is a 12-fold division. I'm going to take you to deep waters. Now, this pattern is pretty common, but it does require you to fold your paper into a 12-fold division. So here's how I like to go with 12. I like to fold a square, and then I do both my diagonal lines like so. And here I like to do what's called the double mountain technique. Double mountain technique is you get 2 mountains like so, and you select them and you press them, and the idea is that the mountains then get together. You fold one mountain onto the other. And so I place my finger here, this finger, onto the piece of paper in order for the layers to be felt. I can feel both of the layers on my finger. And so that lets me know that they are somehow on the same line. They're falling together, right? That's the idea. So yeah, double mountain technique right there. Now we open this up, and my friends, the origami friends I have, call this the little miracle, or at least Mike called this the little miracle. Or he said that he read somewhere that it was called the little miracle, and I'm going to keep it. Although a lot of people say that they're going to turn the page, because it has this little, like, you turn pages, right? Anyway, we open this up and we have your conventional preliminary fold, right? Our 4-fold division. I say a lot of that fold word, or rather to have a number and then the word fold right after. So I can say 4-fold, 3-fold, 8, whatever fold. And this is pretty much what it boils down to, is having a point in which all the edges of the folds are sort of touching each other. It's all balanced, and they're all the same. And I can prove they are the same because, well, not prove, but I can demonstrate they are the same because I can take this area and match it to this one just by there. And I can see that they fall together, so they are, you know, the same because this one is the same to that one, this one is the same to this one, so they are mutually similar. So you can see there that, you know, 4-fold division. All right, cool. So now we got to go to 12-fold, right? So in order to go to 12-fold, we can do several things. I'm going to teach you the one I use typically. Now, it's not always that I do this, but this is the one I'm going to do today. I'm going to trisect this angle. That angle is going to get trisected. So this could probably be the challenge for today if you guys want to give this a try. A lot of fun. Once you get it, it's super nice. So what I need to do here is, well, I think maybe I would benefit from a little zoom. So let me just zoom in here. Well, not zoom, just making it bigger here on the program. There we go. So now I'm going to press onto this. So what I'm doing is, first off, I descend this little bulge. You can see that I'm not folding it. I'm just getting a feel for it. And what I need to do is when I bulge this, I need to be, you know, seeing or feeling that I'm not folding it again. I'm just making sure that whatever this is actually gets to this point. That's the important part, that, you know, you can comb it and whatnot. Now what you need to do is hold this down with one finger like I'm doing here. And now you need to squeeze it. Okay, now look at the squeeze. Look at the little curve that is happening here. Okay, you see that? And so the idea is, so you can see also that my finger here, the squeeze, I'm taking the squeeze down. You can see my fingers going like whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm squeezing. And I'm moving the squeeze down toward the point, toward the center. And once it's at the center, I can then sort of begin to commit, I like to say. So there, the squeeze is at the center, and now with my finger here holding the curve, I begin to press down. But again, okay, notice. The idea is that this fold inside, I'm gonna lift it so you guys can see a little bit better. The idea is that this curve, this point specifically, falls onto this line. And when it does, this one falls where the fold is. So you need to, you know, it's a give and take. If this line ain't doing, then you got to give it some more on the bottom. So it's a little bit tricky because you also notice that what I did here with my what's the name of this finger? With this finger, with the third finger, what is this? This is the middle finger, then this is the index, middle ring. With the ring finger, I'm sort of doing this because with my index finger, I'm making sure that over here things are looking right. So I make sure that on the inside of this curve, that now it's a point because I'm sort of committing to it, so now it's falling. I don't know if you can see that. Well, I know I'm looking at it myself and it's a little out of focus, a little bothering, but that line falls on the line and then this one falls on there. That's the idea. And then that's it. That does that trisection. Now all we need to do is just take this little thing that we pinched. In my case, I pinched it to my left. This is my left. And now I just bring this to my right. And if I did this correctly, and apparently I did, then this hinge, this move, will also fall on this fold that happened here. So then what that means is that because this one is the same as this thing that I'm moving around like this, and this thing is the same as this one, all three of them are the same. What does that mean? That this angle has now been trisected equally. Or at least in principle, because we can't prove, we didn't do this through a mathematical method. We didn't get a reference and get a correct, and there are ways that we can actually achieve this particular trisection. And what I mean by particular is this angle in particular, this 45-degree angle right there, this pi over 4 angle. And this actually could be a nice little topic for a video, the pi over 4 and the radians. There's so many videos that I want to do, but I don't. Why don't I do the videos? Because I'm shy. I'm not shy. I am a perfectionist. I'm not a perfectionist. What is it then? I wonder. I might figure it out. So here's what I do next. Once I have one of these solved, then the next are going to be quite easy. I don't have to repeat the process. I just need to do it right once. Once I do it right once, the rest of it will fall into its place almost by itself, almost by magic, almost, but it's not really magic, you see. So what I'm doing here is I'm moving around my little divisions. What I need is balance. So you got to remember that these three, then I can unfold like this, but these represent one of these fourfold, right? So now this, one of these fourfold, I need balance, so that means that two of them are going to be on my left, and two of them are going to be on my right. I compress once more. I actually don't need for compression because I can see the fold right there. And now I lift the one on my right, this one, and begin the descent, but I'm not going to squeeze or nothing. All I need is that, again, make sure that the fold goes all the way to the corner here, the point. And then I need to make sure that the fold is just falling on the fold there. So you can leave this folded in. The reason why I'm not keeping it folded in is because there's going to be mounting pressure on the center. That's the center right here. And because of that mounting pressure, it's going to be harder and harder to make it work. Or rather to make sure that, you know, the line, it's just the pressure. It might move around with the way the lines hit the center. So we don't want that. We want it to be as precise as we can possibly make it. Now today's Islamic pattern, I'm actually going to split into two videos because I think that perhaps that way we can get either more views or just split the lessons in parts, right? Maybe somebody doesn't want to do the pattern that we want to do today, but maybe somebody just wants to fold a dodecagon, which is what we're doing. And now as you can see, I am folding onto that fold that it just happened. What just happened? Well, I started here, right? And we had this line. That was the line in the middle, which we already had. And what I did was just sort of hinge it and place that onto the fold that I just got. And then I repeat the hinge move on here. Goes towards the center. And now I am slowly but surely adding onto these divisions. And now I move to the ones, you know. You can really move this around as you please, as long as you keep a balance. The balance is going to help it so that the fold actually gets to the center. So notice that I'm always having some line here, like some area, right? Like the one, in this case, on my left I have two of these four folds, and on my right I have one, and I'm descending towards the right. So again, the balance is preserved. Now, here is where it's sort of a similar squeeze happens, but the idea with my index finger on my right hand, I'm keeping this curved. I'm keeping this laid down, and I move it around and I place it onto the fold. Again, if I did it correctly, then the fold should be exactly where this slit is. You can see that the paper here has a little line, and that's what I call a slit. A slit is another word for a cut. A very superficial cut. I think that's the definition for it, a slit. Or it's just like a clean line. But anyway, so it looks like that. It looks like a cut. That's because it's two layers that are touching. Anyway, we fold that there onto it, and then we hinge. And we have this. So now 3 of the 4 have been trisected. So last one. Now, if you want to do it towards your left, which I'm going to do right here because I only have one of my fourfold on my left and 2 of my fourfold on my right, I'm descending in such a way that I'm falling now towards my left because that's sort of where the balance is tending. That's where I need to go. I'm always reminded of when I was going, I used to, I once went to Dallas and I took a bus, and I was sitting on the bus and I was on the upstairs part of the bus, and I was talking with this old lady that was there, that was sitting beside me. And we kind of together stared out the window, and just she was telling me about her grandchildren and about her children, and you know, I was telling her about my life and what I was about, but I was mostly just trying to get things out of her because she's the one who's lived, and I'm just like some dude, and I'm not even from there, so you know, what am I going to tell her? So I thought that she was a source of information which I could, you know, get something out of her, or like some kind of nugget. And I can't remember a single thing, but I remember the experience. I remember how I felt talking with her, and it was quite pleasant. She was a nice old lady, and I had a great time talking with her on that bus that day. And it was I love the road, man. I love just watching just open spaces and trees, and I don't know, development kind of makes me a little bit sad because it's all this, I don't know, I just see it as more construction, more depth, more heat, more parking lots, more cars. That kind of makes me a little bit sad, but I guess to not allow that would be kind of selfish, but to allow it would be kind of nearsighted, so you know, choose your camp. So now what I need to do is I need to activate all 4 of these divisions, just so you guys can see. We don't need to activate them for our purposes, but we do need to activate them either way. But okay, so I said I was going to split this into 2 videos, and I am. So here's the first part of the video. Rather, this is the first part of the series. Anyway, whatever. You get the idea. Now, if we did this correctly, all 6 of these, now this is a 12-fold division, right? So that means that if I hold it up like this, like I was holding up the square, there are 12 of these little strands coming out of the center, which are all the same to each other, or at least similar. Because I don't have 12 fingers, I can't just put my finger between all the little gaps in between. I only have 10 fingers, so let me try putting 10 onto here. It's kind of hard also to put all my fingers on a point, but there we go. You kind of see it. But anyway, if I open it now, you get your little 12-fold division there. Now, if you wanted, and which you actually do, to get a dodecagon, that is a regular 12-sided polygon, once you have these divisions, the next steps are actually pretty easy. You need to take this little bit. That's the bit where the paper falls, or rather this division comes in, hits the edge right there. So we have this little space. Now the idea is that you're going to place this little space onto that fold itself, like that. You see? This little bit falls on the line that I mentioned. And you fold that, and you do the same thing, but now for this bit. And you put it on the other fold. Now if you did this correctly, you will see that this fold falls exactly here. So it hits 2 of the radial lines. And further, you're going to see that it starts to come around, and they do have a mutual point of intersection. Further, you're going to see that this triangle starts to repeat. This triangle, 1, 2, and 3. This is a slice, it's a radial slice, and that begins to repeat all around. So we're going to do that. I'm going to try, well, yeah, I'm just going to rotate this, because I'm going to do all of them on the same side like this. 1, 2. Now, if you were having trouble along the way, like I was, for instance, with this line, and now in the video it doesn't look that problematic, but in person I see that I'm sort of missing it by a little bit. Like this line seems to be that I was having doubts with it. So just as a fail-safe, what you can do is make sure that this little guy, there's a little line there. You can't see it very well in the video, but there's a line there, and it's the extension of this line. Make sure that it falls on itself. Make sure that this line falls on itself. And so even though that this little bit is not falling on the line, at least you will have a regular polygon. So yeah, make sure that that condition is satisfied. Now if this is not an intersection, you can always just push it up a little bit more. Yeah, there we go, 1, 2. Next one. Now there are many ways to fold the dodecagon. This is my personal favorite one. This is my go-to. But again, there are many ways that you can fold one. And I'll teach you some down the line, but for right now I think that this is the one that I want to share, because it provides some nice little practice for off the cuff approximate folding with some kind of clear intention. We want to trisect an angle. And we do this, but we do it with our, so now, we do it with our hands I was going to say, but that's obvious. So now I need to combine these two folds. So 1, 2 fold, and then I combine it with that line. Now I don't need to do this. What I mean by this, I don't need to do this little thing that I did there at the end. And I'm only doing it because of the screenshot for this video. And what's the screenshot going to be? It's just going to be the dodecagon. This is why we don't get views, by the way. Well, I might put in some text. I actually have to put in the time to these videos. I actually do need to make some effort. And so there we go. We have now a regular dodecagon. So that's a 12-sided polygon right there. And we can count it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I might count off the same on the other side, but we can see that they're the same, but let's just not take any chances. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 on my right, 6 on my left. That's a 12. So we have a 12-sided polygon. And now just a last little thing. Let's just compress. Now when we compress like this, we call this a collapse too sometimes. Or you can call it compression, whatever. Just some reduction of space, right? Because it's all of this area, and now all of a sudden it's being reduced to a single slice. So I have to put in 6 on, because it's an even number, I can put in the same amount on my left and my right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's for my right. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You see that I moved there the lines a little bit, and that was because I wanted to give preference to the bare faces. That is the face that has no folds on it, as you can see with this one. Now there are all these excesses, there are these little pieces of paper that were there. That's because we're inside of a square. But that's also the point. We can cut this off and we get our regular dodecagon. So I'm going to stop the video here. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know how it goes. Good luck. And that's a lot of time for a simple figure. But yeah, let's now do the Islamic pattern.